We are live, man. Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin for New Order of the Ages, New World Order. That is on the $1, the US $1 bill. It's in also a bunch of movies, the backgrounds of a bunch of movies. So good news. I put a voice note in the Telegram, but I just want you all to know something really cool. So you may have received in the past a census, or maybe your family member receives a census. Now, in the U.S. Constitution, it does say that, every 10 years, the government can do a census and can tell everyone, can ask everyone for information that they have to answer, which is where does everyone live? How many people are in each household, etc. And, oh wow, this person just said, where's your tinfoil hat? Well, actually, my tinfoil hat, I actually made it out of the aluminum that is in the pesticided, neurotoxic food that you eat. That's where I made my tinfoil hat. So watch out, big guy, when you're pulling the maybe 30, almost 30-year-old joke out of the bag. I mean, come on, big guy. Anyway, so censuses, this might go over this dude's head, probably will, but so it turns out that censuses, yes, they are literally a head count. It's doing inventory, just like most businesses will do inventory. So it's a big inventory count. They want to know who's where. But I found out something very interesting. You're going to like this. There is actually there is absolutely nothing that the government can do if you do not do the census. It is just the exact same when they say masks are mandatory. That is an advisory. That is all right, let's kick this glue bag out of here. That is an advisory. It's advised. It's recommended. It is not by law. There is no law. There's no law. So someone said in the UK, you get a fine. Hey, guess what? In the United States and in Canada, they threaten you with a fine too. But here's the thing. In 2006, get this, 2 million people in Canada did not do the census, okay? 2 million people, almost 10%, just under 10% of the population doesn't fill out the census. And by the way, specifically, I said yesterday in the Telegram, this is not legal advice. This is purely for informational purposes. You have to do what you feel is proper and what is right, okay? And I can't advise you to do something that that you want to do, etc. My point is this, this is literally not legal advice, okay? This is just fucking entertainment. We're just literally shooting the shit here, all right? But anyways, purely for educational and informational purposes only. So, here's the thing. They say that they can fine you if you don't do the census. But from my research, okay, and let me just tell you this story from the top. Last week, 2 weeks ago, well, actually, a month ago, I get the thing in the mail. It says, yo, you got to do the census. You got to do the census now, peasant. That's what I got in the mail. A governmental order saying that I got to fill out the census. And when I saw the census, Jerem, I'm about to kick you out, man. Just don't talk smack and you'll be allowed to stay and watch, all right? I know you want to watch me talk. That's why you joined and you chirped me in the first place. You can sit here and watch, but if you say something stupid, I'm going to kick you out and then you got to make a new account. This is not the day, big guy. So anyways, I get this thing in the mail. It says, yo, you got to do the census, peasant. So I was like, okay, I'll burn this. I literally didn't even think twice about it. As soon as I saw the government send me a thing in the mail that asked me a bunch of questions that I never agreed to answer. I'm not applying for a mortgage here. I don't need to answer any questions. I'm not applying for some shit. I don't got to do anything. I didn't consent to this. So when I got the census in the mail, I went and I put it into the fire pit and I had a, bonfire that night and I burned it. I just laughed. I thought, I'm not doing that. They didn't even think to me. Then a week, a month goes by and I get a thing in the mail. It says, yo, you have a legal obligation to fill out the census. And I was like, seriously? And I started getting a little spooked. So I start Googling it, all right? I start using the satanic Google adrenochrome. Google's CPU is called Adreno, and then Google Chrome is called Chrome, and then the logo is a 666, which is literally adrenochrome. Tell me that's a fucking coincidence. How about that for a tinfoil hat Jerem who's talking smack over there? Anyways, so I start Googling it, And it turns out that, holy Kreipenheimer, every single mainstream article says, yo, you got to do this or you will get fined. You will go to jail. We'll put your peasant ass in jail, man. And I was like, damn. So I thought, okay, I wonder what's more sketchy. Not filling it out or filling it out wrong or filling it out entirely, okay? And I'm thinking, which one is the best thing to do? So then I found a website, and I shared it, by the way, on the in the private, uncensored Telegram group chat. And that's exactly where we talk about stuff that we can't talk about here. And I know most of you are already in the Telegram, but I just want you to know that there's all kinds of stuff that I'd love to share with you that literally could save you from altering your DNA right now, that everyone's doing right now. But I can't talk about it on Telegram. So get in or I can't talk about it on Instagram, rather. So get into the private, uncensored Telegram group chat. How do you get that? You go to the App Store, you download the app Telegram, then you go to the link in my bio, Connecting Consciousness bio, click the link. The fourth one down is to join the Telegram. You click that, you join it. Or you download Telegram and type in Connecting Consciousness. Thank you, Jessica. I will. Oh, that guy is, yeah, I seen that guy. Thank you. So anyways, get this. All right. Get this. So I started researching and it says, yeah, you can get fined. There's even potential for jail time if you don't fill out the census. And by the way, in the United States and in Canada, there's a ton of folks. It's 1 out of every 5 homes gets the long form, okay? The long form of a census. And there's literally like 50 questions. It takes you like half an hour. Like if your time's your time's valuable. They're trying to charge you half an hour to fill out a bunch of questions that you're not legally obligated to. In my personal opinion, this is educational, not legal advice, all right? So anyways, as it turns out, there is no legal obligation. What will happen is this. When you get that census in the mail, you'll notice that you will see Sarah Jackson, it's the 53,000 followers in it. Subscribers or joiners or whatever. It says the census is addressed to your home. It's not addressed to your name. It is not addressed to an individual. It's addressed to an address. Last I checked, a house cannot fill out a questionnaire, okay? And so therefore, what's going to happen is, and then let me just tell you what happened next. So I got the thing that said I have a legal obligation to do this. And I laughed and thought, I laughed about it and I thought, whatever. Then people start saying, yo, people are showing up to houses. The enforcement team will come up to your house and say, yo, are you filling out the census? So last week, Thursday, 6 o'clock, dinner's coming along. About to chill. Let's kick this ding dong out of here. And all of a sudden I hear a car door close. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe someone came over. Maybe a friend. Maybe, someone's dropping in. I see this old lady in a red vest with a blue mask on her face with the fluoride that's sprayed on those masks. I did, Jessica. Thank you. And she starts walking up her house. I'm like, damn, this is the census chick. I know it. This is the census enforcement team. And she was armed. She had an AR-15, and on her hip she had a pistol. She was ready to fucking go off, man. I'm just kidding. She was just in a red vest. And she shows up, knocks on the door. Hello? My windows are open. The lights are on. Vehicle in the driveway. Like clearly someone's home. And I'm pretty sure the TV was even on. Like, I'm pretty sure I was watching literally a video about the census being fake news when she showed up. So clearly she knows someone home. And from what I've gathered, if you straight up refuse and say, I'm not filling out the census, I, Shane, and then you give your last name, am not filling out the census. If you do that, then you are giving them your individual identity and refusing a thing that they say is law, right? But it's fake news because that's what you don't want to do. Instead, don't contract with them. Literally back away from the window, man. I was creeping up over the window, looking at her head, looking around. She's looking around. She went around the side. I was like, holy shit, man. Is she going to come in the back door? So she knocked on the door and I didn't say anything. Then all of a sudden I hear a loud crash. And I'm like, holy shit, is she trying to break into my damn house? And I look out the window No, this 70 or 65-year-old white-haired lady is not trying to break into my house. She fell on the step in front of my house. And I'm thinking, holy shit, is she okay? And I see her, she's all fucking confused. Like, I felt bad. Like, I'm going to tell you, this isn't this hilarious story. You guys are all laughing now, but it gets a little serious. She falls on the front step. And I want to go out and help her, but I made sure she was okay. Like, I made sure she could get up. If she was literally like, like, I would have went out and helped her. But she literally just had a little bit of a spill. And, you know, probably because vibrationally, she shouldn't be knocking on people's doors, getting them to consent to a contractual government, you know, questionnaire or whatever. So I see her fall, and I'm thinking, damn, like, fuck, man, it's like a grandma. She could be my grandma, man. And I'm like, fuck, but I don't want to go over there and start contracting with her, and then, you know. So she got up, and then she walked down the driveway, and I could tell she was like pissed off. Like, that obviously was not cool, you know. Then last night, and I'm going to tell you she came again. She came again yesterday, okay? She didn't fall this time, but this time she was coming around the side of the house. She was coming around this side of the house. Like, she was literally trying to get in the damn house. And then I'd say in the telegram, I was like, you know, hey, have you guys experienced this situation where the census people are coming up to your house or harassing you to get you to fill out the census? And someone said that they showed up to her house once. She didn't answer the door. And then the guy was like, knew she was in there somehow and was like yelling towards her or whatever. And then, okay, the next week they showed up again and they all got stung by bees outside of this chick's house. This is what someone said in the telegram. They said, yeah, like the census people, I'm looking out the window and they started getting stung by, and they said bees, but it was more likely wasps. Bees generally aren't going to sting you unless you piss them off. So to me, what's happening here? What are the odds? What is the situation? Someone give me the statistical facts here of how often census people show up to a house to harass you to fill up a government non-contractual voluntary government questionnaire and, you know, fall or get injured because vibrationally they shouldn't be doing that. I don't know. That's what I thought. Someone said, yo, man, when I said the story of this in my telegram, they said, yeah, that's an allegory, man. The government is going down. I was like, dude, all right, let's, you know. By the way, someone said, like, you got some of you are being pretty harsh on this old lady. She literally came at 6 o'clock. So clearly she works like a day job. This is her side gig where she goes around with a little piece of paper and says, yo, you guys got to do the census. But when she showed up the second time, so last night she showed up again, literally just, you know, eating dinner here. I hear a car door close. I'm like, fuck, man. My head was in the window, so she probably saw me as she showed up. You don't know how far, you know, someone who's 60, 70, 80, I don't know how old she was. She looked pretty old. Like literally like someone in an old folks home showing up to my house to get me to fill out a census. I don't know what's going on. But she probably saw me and knew I was home. And then as soon as she shows up at the door, everything goes quiet. TV's off. Lights are still on. Windows are open. Vehicle in the driveway. Clearly someone's home. But she's walking around. I hear her going around the side of the house. She's calling out, hello. She stayed for probably 10 minutes. Knocking. Calling. I'm like, seriously. Like, I'm about to get pissed off, man. So I'm going to tell you. Next week, we're going to find out what happens. But my plan is this. From what I've seen, the best thing you could do is don't contract with them. Don't talk to them. Let them show up a bunch. Who cares? Although it's really damn annoying. What happens eventually is she gives up and then it potentially, and again, I'm going to keep you updated with my experience here. Potentially, you get a fine to your address that is not a real fine. Okay? And in other words, it's completely voluntary to pay it. Now, a lot of people say that when the census people show up to your house, they are trying to get you to fill it out on the spot, okay? And some people have done this. I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't agree with the census. So, out of the 2 million people that did not answer the census in 2006 in Canada, 65 of them got prosecuted. Most of them were those who were speaking out publicly. The government's got to make an example of them. And most of those got completely thrown out. And some of them had to pay a $100 to $500 fine. And no one went to jail. So from my experience, it seems like they're just wishing for as many people as possible, but they're not actually going to get you in trouble for not doing it. This is my personal opinion, not legal advice, etc. Amy Janes said, what if you did the census? Well, then whatever. I mean, you kind of bent the knee. You kind of gave up a bit of your rights. But I mean, if it didn't affect you too hardcore or whatever. But my thing is this. Like, I don't agree with what's going on right now. I don't agree with, I'm not anti, like I'm pro freedom. Part of your freedom is to not give up your privacy information. And just so you know, both the US, Canada, and even the UK, all of our census bureaus are now using artificial intelligence computer shits to scan all the census forms as they come in. And your sensitive information about who's in your home, what religion you are, what are the ages and names of the people in your home, etc. All that stuff is sitting in a cloud ready to be hacked, okay? So for your privacy rights, this is one reason why you wouldn't want to give, this is one reason why some people wouldn't want to do the census is that, you're kind of putting all this information into the government database that gets hacked all the time anyway. So it's kind of strange. Plus, in the US Constitution and in the Canadian Charter of Rights and in the UK, specifically they say that no questions are allowed to be asked about your religion, okay? No one is allowed to ask about what religion or if you're belonging to a church, etc. That's against the Constitution. And again, the Constitution states the census should be every 10 years, not every single year, okay? The other thing, okay, is that someone said it here. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, so the census asks you what gender you were at birth and then what gender you are now. So they're very politically correct. Very politically correct. It's very, very interesting. So that's what I've discovered is that you won't really get a fine. And if you do, you don't really have to pay it. The only way you're really going to get yourself into a tricky situation is if you come outside, say I, and then give your name, will not do the census. That's how you can get in shit. If you instead just don't do it, don't reply, don't answer, don't engage, there's nothing that's going to happen. And again, I was saying yesterday in the Telegram, I said, so if I got a fine, then it's not like it's going to affect your credit. It's not like it's going to go on your vehicle, like on your license, because you didn't have to do any of that stuff. Like, for example, things only go on your credit if you had to run your credit to get that, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about? So you're not going to get someone on your credit for getting this fine and not paying it, because it's not a real fine. It's addressed to a house. It's not addressed to a individual. So that's the main difference. And yes, so if they ask your name, that too is not proper. You're not supposed to ask the names of the individuals in the house. That's against the Constitution. So anyways, don't fall for it. In my opinion, this is not legal advice. This is just purely educational, just literally nonsense. I'm literally just completely, don't believe me. So, yes, very question. So I see Wiener said, that's Veener. So why would filling out the census be bad? Well, because you're pissing away all of these private informations to a cloud data server when you don't have to, when it's against your privacy rights, and while it is sitting on a cloud that can be hacked at all times. So that's my opinion. There's also other folks on, Free Spirit said, will you have to pay the fine? This is not legal advice. You must ask yourself the question, do some research on it, but I just said no. So yes, very good question. The other thing too is that I was watching this video last night by Minivan Jack. Okay, Minivan Jack is the guy who had a crazy video. It had 2 million views on YouTube, and it was about smart meters. So this guy has a whole bunch of other videos about a lot of very interesting things. Okay, and the one I was watching last night is about the war on the family unit. Okay, and this I've never seen it pitched this way. It's very, very interesting. He basically states that. Like in nature, all at least most of them, generally grow up until they're an adolescent with their mother, right next to them, nurturing them, raising them until they're an adult, and then they take off, right? Human beings, though, some people only have a maternity leave. Some women only have a maternity leave that's 6 months to a year, and then they're back at work. And then for 8 hours a day, a child, or potentially longer, is either with not the mother, or at a daycare or a institution, organization where the children goes and isn't with their family. So now we're at 3 or 4 generations now, where because the Rockefeller Foundation funded the women's liberation movement, and unfortunately many folks were mind controlled into thinking that they have been liberated by no longer serving their family and instead serving a corporation or an employer, then we've gotten ourselves into a very tricky situation. And people think that the women's liberation movement was to give women rights. But the truth is that there's 2 reasons. One, first and foremost, it was taxes. They wanted to tax the other 50% of the population, women, who were working, but weren't working on things that were taxable. They were working on, making sure that their environment that their family is being raised in was very, blessed and was very comfortable and secure, etc., while the men were providing and whatnot. So it's very interesting that at the same moment, they get women out of the house into the taxable, workforce. And at the same time, they then get the children into the state-sponsored indoctrination camps that much sooner. Or did you think that the government... But here's the thing. You may be thinking, dude, but like this movement of people, like it was all hippies, like it was an amazing thing. Like, what are you talking about? But here's the thing. You got to understand that many times you have something called controlled opposition, okay? Where, for example, in Russia, during the Soviet Union type situation, there was a instance where basically all the citizens started waking up that, oh my God, man, this is coming into a communist state. This is not going to be good, blah, 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 blah. And they started getting wise to it. So what the Soviet, and I guess the KGB were involved in it, the secret special forces of Russia got involved in this. And what they did is they created a fake opposition to the government. And then with a bunch of informants, they went out there and started started spreading a rumor that this opposition, this like basically secret force had infiltrated the government and was going to not let this totalitarian system take place, and that everyone can relax because like it's under control. Is this reminding you of anything? And so that's an example of controlled opposition, where people who are against something hear about this thing that's going to go protect them from it, but that thing is actually controlled by the system in the first place. So for example, the media was hyping up women don't have enough rights. Look, they have to stay home and raise their family all day when they could be voting, or when they could be, and I'm obviously not, like there's certain things, like the thing is, you read Animal Farm, right? In that book, they're making fun of the fact that, we're all equal, but some of us are more equal than others. If we're talking truly equality, yes, like we should have equal rights, but men and women definitely are not equal. We're completely different. We have completely different, in the things that we are intended, biologically designed to be best suited for. You know what I'm talking about? So women were like, damn, like there's this big movement that's like liberating us from the patriarchy. And meanwhile, the Rockefeller Foundation, which is in complete cahoots with the central banking system, with the control system that is influencing the world, we're like, all right, let's fund this fake movement to hype up all these people and getting them to think that they're being liberated. And at the end, we will be able to tax them and we'll get the kids into school sooner. That's literally what happened. So please understand. While people are wondering, dude, is this shit real, man? This sounds like a conspiracy theory. That is fully real. Exactly what I just said is true. That is the entire reason. And to this day, women think that it is, and not likely most of you, because I'll tell you, I attracted exactly certain type of people to my page, and most of them are quite aware. I mean, I'm probably preaching to the choir here as we speak. But a lot of women today believe that they are being they are in a patriarchal situation if they're raising a family versus, or if they're serving their family versus serving an employer. And biologically, it's very strange for a child to be abandoned by the mother for 8 to 12 hours, 8 to 10 hours a day while she's working, and while the baby or the child is instead under the care of someone else. It creates a kind of weaker bond that otherwise could be quite a strong bond. Because as this guy said, Minivan Jack, he said, if you have strong families lead to strong communities. Strong communities lead to everyone helps each other versus needing, and the morals are there, etc., versus needing assistance from other taxable, traceable, financial transactions of people helping you out, etc., etc. If we had really actual strong communities, things would be quite different. Very different, in fact. So this is why we have to be aware that at this moment, it is a critically important thing that we don't mind numb ourselves sitting around watching Netflix, not pursuing this information that has been strategically, intentionally, completely hidden from us because there is a control system that wants to enslave the entire world as we speak. That's what we're talking about, the social credit system in China. The facial recognition cameras they're trying to unveil in every single city in the world. Facial recognition, connected to a digital passport, a digital ID, where you scan yourself to get in and out of public buildings or streets or to get a vehicle. Like, this is where they're pushing this. It's called technocracy. We got to make sure that we do not fall for this and let this happen, because otherwise we will be in an open air prison, a prison that doesn't have bars, but it is a prison. It is a prison. Now, furthermore, speaking of people who have been censored, if you remember the man named, what was his name? We talked about him earlier. Oh, yes. Well, we have Stan Meyer. Someone just brought up Stan Meyer. Stan Meyer is the guy who created a water-powered vehicle, which you pour water into, and it, drive for several hundred miles. It's a water fuel cell that goes forever. You just keep putting water in it, okay? Not salt water, not this type of water, just straight up water. This guy created this patent that could be available right now, but it was suppressed and black shelved by the DHS, Department of Homeland Security. They said that this patent was a threat to national security, but it really was a threat to national profits of these evil corporations around the world. And so they censored this patent so that no one else could learn about it. And then they, at the same moment, put the patent on a black shelf so no one could touch it, and then they killed the guy who invented it. This happens many times. This happens quite often, where people are, the brilliance of humanity shines through this suppressive system, and then sometimes people, like whack-a-mole, they get whacked back down. And we got to understand something here, that if you really research the whistleblowers, like I'm talking Tyrone Hayes. If anyone's new here, you may want to know about Tyrone Hayes, the scientist. Okay, a lot of people know about, for example, I wonder who knows more, or who is more well known, Dr. Sebi or the Tyrone Hayes. Now, Tyrone Hayes, a little different than Sebi. Tyrone Hayes was a scientist that worked for Syngenta, okay? And he was tasked with analyzing a new herbicide that Syngenta came up with. This herbicide is called atrazine. Atrazine at the time was being tested to see if it's safe enough to spray everywhere, right? And his studies that were funded by Syngenta indicated that atrazine causes the gender of frogs to be reversed because of the toxic chemicals. It has an effect on the endocrine system, which is toxic, okay? An effect on the endocrine system that it works in reverse, okay? So male frogs would start, their genitals would shrink, and then they would grow on the outside of their body female genitals. Like, this is the weirdest chemical you've ever heard. It makes frogs reverse genders, okay? So get this, and Caden on the TV account, stay tuned because I'm about to tell you about what they got going on right now. So this chemical after he proved that it reverses the gender of frogs, you think that they'd pull it so they wouldn't spray it everywhere. So no one would end up consuming this toxic chemical, would they? No, of course not, right? Because positive folks are working in these organizations and agencies, right? No. What happened next was Tyrone Hayes goes home, okay? And his wife's like, how was work today? Like, what did you guys figure out with your little scientist, all right? I'm sure you got a little, microscope. What did you really figure out, dude? That's what his wife said to him. I'm just kidding. But she did say, how was work? And he says on the interview, he's like, it was hard for me to just try to say, oh, we just did nothing. We just chilled. We just figured some shit out. Or, oh, I just figured out that this toxic chemical causes frogs to reverse gender and this gigantic company wants to put it everywhere. Okay? So he had to come clean. But the issue was that he signed an NDA before beginning the study. An NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. So he basically agreed by law that he will not disclose the information that comes out of this study. And he realized that he's going to break that NDA because this is more important than this little, NDA. So he comes out and he starts spilling the beans. He goes public. He says, look, I was paid to study this atrazine chemical, and it is actually quite toxic, and it reverses the gender of frogs. So what they did was, and Georgie said Alex Jones has controlled his opposition. Oh, man. I should stop addressing this when people say it, but if you have, I'll give you $1,000 if you can give me a shred of evidence, more than just some random person saying, this person is disinfo. Give me evidence that Alex Jones, email it to me, that Alex Jones is controlled opposition. Because last I heard, none of us would even know about atrazine if it weren't for the video that got 6 million views on YouTube 5 years ago of Alex Jones talking about atrazine that went everywhere, okay? And you can't give me for example, the other day I talked about the guy who made a 5-hour documentary about Freemasons, and randomly in the middle of the documentary, he's like, and David Icke and Alex Jones are Freemasons too, blah, blah, blah. And then he just kept going on and he gave no evidence whatsoever. Okay. That doesn't count as evidence. So don't be telling me that, I got evidence. Here's some dude who says that he is. Because I've heard it dozens and dozens of times. These people are controlled disinfo. Alex Jones and David Icke, they're part of the system. That's why they've been deplatformed. That's why their payment processes have been shut down, okay? Alex Jones had to get his own payment processor because MasterCard shut him down. They wouldn't process payments. David Icke, fully deplatformed. Why would it... Think about it for a second. David Icke, for example, millions and millions of views on YouTube of him exposing a system that seeks to exploit and control you. Oh, he's part of the system. The system wants millions of people knowing that there's a system that's trying to enslave them. Does that make sense? Please. Yeah, exactly. If you have evidence, send it over. If you're just going to say they're disinfo because they're big, then you may as well say what a bunch of completely deluded fools have also said about me. You're disinfo because you have 800,000 followers. The system would have shut you down by now, surely. Well, I have had many posts deleted. Many posts deleted. I got a crazy shadow ban last year. Don't think that this system is so all-encompassing, so powerful, that they can control every single aspect of your lives, and that no one possibly could get famous or well-known and be on the positive side of humanity, etc. Okay? So please. And again, people think Alex Jones is disinfo because he has this huge operation. He has this fucking studio and it's really well made. He has a shitload of people, who work for him. Look what he's doing. Listen to the guy. You'll see why he has a big operation. He knows what he's doing. So anyways, my point is that at the same moment that they are suppressing these alternative technologies, they come out and say that you are the problem. You're not producing billions of tons of toxic chemicals. You're not producing billions of tons of toxic plastics. You're not producing toxic things that end up in the ocean. You're not doing that. Me and you are not doing that. It's these mega corporations that then fund climate agendas to restrict your rights and freedoms even further, because they say that you're the problem, because that's the only thing you can damn buy at the store anyway. Okay? So don't fall for the world's overpopulated and they're going to come help you out by making sure there's less people on Earth to save you from overpopulation. The problem's not overpopulation, man. It's the mega corporations that are fully controlled by a satanic cult that is poisoning the world and causing mass infertility to create a depopulation agenda, which we're in the midst of as we speak. Is it possible that we are actually in a war right now, and that the casualties of war include, yes, infertility, people dying, businesses being shut down? It's economic warfare. They got countries destroying their own economies. Is it possible that we are in the midst of a war right now, but it is not the type of war that you picture, which is with bombs and missiles, etc., but instead it's with civilians versus tip-top governments who are controlling and influencing the media and the food that you consume? They're weaponizing the food that you eat. They're weaponizing and controlling the weather as well. Is that possible that we are actually in a war? I would say quite likely that we are in the middle of a war. But it is very different than any war human history has ever went through. And in fact, it is rather surreal when I think about it. Every once in a while I think about it, Wow, is this shit real life? Is this a real incarnation that this evil control system and we're like the rebellion, man. Like there's literally the Empire. You got Darth Vader, and then you got me and you, and we're part of the rebellion, all right? Some of you are Luke Skywalker. Some of you are Princess Leia. Some of you are Lando Calrissian, all right? And this is the rebellion against the literal empire, and this is real life. And here we are, 800 million accounts on Instagram, and you're on this account watching this live feed. What are the odds of that? Why is your state of consciousness heightened to such an amount that you're not watching Netflix right now, watching some glue bag like The Social Dilemma, and that idiot who produced it, who then DM'd me and said, dude, you're an idiot, man. This is a lie. And I went to his page, and he has blue fingernails painted, and he's an executive producer for the company that made the movie The Social Dilemma, which is fully fake news. And it's very easy to see it's actually psychological warfare. And so my point is this. And I just got a synchronicity too. Has this moment already happened? Did I already dream the situation? I don't know. But all I know is this. It's very, very interesting that this is actually real life happening as we speak. And all of you are aware of this situation. And that's why you joined the private uncensored Telegram group, so that we can talk further. And that we are aware. Because I'll tell you something. If we're in the middle of a war, it's not a bad idea to duck and cover. Okay? It's not going to stop these mega corporations to go protest. It's not going to stop this evil system to go and I'm quoting some of what the video I watched last night by Minivan Jack. It's not going to, end this system by going and this or that. The way is to reduce your dependence on the system that wants you fully enslaved and dependent on it. So we may be, me and you, knowing that we are aware of this depopulation agenda and this, infertility agenda, etc. It could be that me and you can be a percentage of the folks that actually survive this war because we're aware of it. That's what it seems like to me, is that we will, it reminds me of Shrek when the dude is like, the king is like, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And they're all like, oh, okay, like this guy's willing to make the sacrifice of us potentially dying. So my point is that, we may all not make it. But I'll tell you, we'll be making it in the fourth and fifth dimension. All right, because our soul lives on. But I'll tell you, it seems like, yes, we are 100% in the middle of warfare, advanced warfare, spiritual warfare, biological, technological, all right, cyber warfare. Everyone's talking about cyber warfare now. And at the same time, because we're aware of this war, it takes discernment and focus to avoid the weapons that are being deployed on humanity right now. Smart meters, you might want to get the smart meter off your house. GMOs, You might not want to alter your DNA by consuming genetically modified food. Who knows what that does to your DNA after 5-10 years? All I know is that after 3 generations in rats, the rats could no longer reproduce. They were fully infertile by the 3rd generation. So we are already in the middle of the 2nd generation of GMO consumers, because it was 1990s or so that they launched this, started to produce GMOs. And you may be thinking, dude, is this a literal, is this an actual depopulation agenda? Like that they're trying to depopulate the world? I can't tell you what it's going to be like 10, 15 years from now. I can tell you that human freedom will be restored at some point, and we will win this. But how far do they push it before we wake up, or whatever is left? Okay? Whatever's left. Because it seems like many folks may bite it. Many folks may be casualties in this war, and they would have likely signed up for that before they incarnated into this reality, etc. So my point is this: we have to be aware of this stuff, otherwise you will be a victim of it. I was thinking of this when I was at Walmart the other day exposing a bunch of chemicals. I was thinking, and hey Landon, if you want to go live, big guy. I'd love to watch you go live. So go live right now. I'll join. So I was walking in Walmart and I was thinking, man, if you're not aware of all the different weapons that are being deployed against humanity, like the toxic fragrances, when folks have the, what's it called in their homes? When folks have the laundry detergents in their homes that have fake and synthetic fragrances, those are a weapon in the war against human fertility. This is not a joke. This is a weapon that is used in the war against human fertility, okay? And that's what happens if you're huffing in the fumes from, if you're huffing in the fumes that come off of Febreze, Glade, the air fresheners, and these synthetic fragrances in laundry detergent. It is a weapon in this war. And again, if you're just new here, you may be thinking, dude, what the hell are you talking about, man? I just bought it from the store. I saw a commercial on it. Fuck you, man. No. What I'm saying is this. They don't even legally have to disclose what ingredients are in the laundry detergents. There's no ingredient list on a laundry detergent. It just says Tide or whatever. There's no ingredient. They say that the ingredient list is proprietary. In other words, you don't need to know. And guess what? If you see, like I saw in a bottle of hand sanitizer, it says fragrance on it. Just so you know, fragrance is legally allowed to be thousands, 6,000 to be precise, different chemicals that do not need to be listed. Okay? So we have secret weapons being used for a secret war that most people have no idea is going on as we speak. And I'm talking about laundry detergent. And in this IGTV I posted, I said, there's no other way to see it. It's not an accident that laundry detergents that millions and millions of people use have thousands of genotoxic chemicals. Genotoxic is something that's toxic to your genes, okay, your genetics, your DNA. It is not a coincidence that these fragrances are genotoxic and they harm your DNA. It's not a coincidence. This is a chemical assault on humanity. I don't know how else to say it. Someone's like, dude, that is so fucking dramatic, man. You got to be joking me. Sorry for swearing. Someone said to me the other day, they listened to this with their kids and I swore at it. Sorry. But anyway, my point is this. It's not an accident, man. It is designed. This is part of the war on human fertility around the world. Unless you believe this, okay? You may think I'm a conspiracy theorist. Well, you're a conspiracy denialist, if that's the case. Unless you think that these mega corporations, these huge agencies that are tasked with specifically making sure things are safe, unless you think that they are just so inept and some dude on Instagram with an orange shirt and a necklace on with a map behind him knows something that these multi-billion-dollar agencies don't know or don't have the resources to figure out, that is a conspiracy denialist. And that could be what you are if you think that this is a conspiracy, that they are adding chemicals to laundry detergents, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, in laundry detergents to make you infertile and to alter your DNA. Why? Why would they alter your DNA? Because your DNA is light codes. Because your DNA interacts with the infinite intelligence of the natural world. And they see that as a threat. They see healthy people as a threat to their control system where they are trying to push things. That's what a healthy person is. A healthy person is a threat to this control system. That's why healthy families, they despise. It is their kryptonite. That's why people who drink clean water and eat healthy food, it is their kryptonite. Now they're trying to get everyone to line up to get the you-know-what. Because anyone who's healthy is this system's kryptonite. Why? Because this system is not fully physical. It is a non-physical entity or entities which are influencing global consciousness with control over the media, the education system, big pharma, production, etc. is controlled by this global cult which literally worships entities that do not exist within the third dimension. It's spiritual warfare. Yes, someone's like, dude, I'm a scientist, man. What you said is bullshit. I'm telling you right now. That is exactly what it is. This is spiritual warfare. We're in the middle of it. We are vibrational beings. We are electromagnetic beings. And these toxic chemicals, the heavy metals that are sprayed on food at the grocery store, alter your magnetic frequency to a state that it otherwise would never be in if you were not chemically altered and chemically poisoned. That's the truth. It is spiritual warfare. Hubel said, I'm so pissed. Mad face. Hey, don't be pissed, man. It's better to be pissed off than pissed on. You know what I'm talking about? No, but seriously, dude, we'll win this war, man. Are you kidding me? I'm not pissed off. I mean, I know this stuff is going on, but I'm not pissed. I'm not necessarily pissed off. Like, it's empowering to know that we are aware. We are at the spearhead of a situation where global consciousness is shifting, rather going down the Great Reset or the Great Reset or the Great Awakening. We have the choice. Which way are you going? I know which road I'm going down, man. Not going to be the Great Reset. Not going to be the Great Reset. But I will say this. If their kryptonite is healthy people, don't you think it makes sense to be as healthy as you possibly can? If your DNA is being altered because they want your DNA completely put into a damaged state, don't you think it could be very, very powerful to have optimized DNA or rejuvenated and restored DNA? Does that make sense? If the sun gives off biophotons of light, okay, and these photons of light have information in them and energy in them, and you are in the sunlight, but you don't have any minerals in your body. Remember that minerals are what allow you to utilize the sun's energy, the sun's information that it gives off in the form of biophotons of light. So in other words, it is a very, very intentional plot to have human consciousness without minerals in a lowered state and in a chemically altered state with atrazine and with GMOs and with altered DNA. So this is why yesterday, when I specifically mentioned the therapeutic, the highly beneficial effects of certain plant compounds, I'm talking about the shilajit, man. I'm just gonna say straight up. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm talking about the shilajit. I'm talking about the shilajit that Chalk gave away for 90% off yesterday, and that deal is completely capped, and they probably will not run it again because the code got overused. It was supposed to be set on a timer that was supposed to be expired, and someone's getting in trouble at Chalk because they left it on, and way more people used the 90 off than were supposed to. So Chalk will probably never run that deal again. But because so many people, once the deal was actually capped, they were pissed off that no one, the code's not working anymore. Chalk agreed to run a today-only deal for 53% off lifetime discount of the plant compounds. For example, just so you know, the shilajit, which has a clinical study, it contains 40 trace minerals, which build DNA. Remember that minerals are frequencies of light, and your DNA is light codes. Remember that last month, okay, the Apex glutathione could no longer be sold by Chalk because, unfortunately, the FDA banned the production, the distribution of NAC. Very, very strange. Very, very strange that such a situation would happen. And they say that GMOs and pesticides are still allowed to be sprayed, but you can't have NAC, which is a natural plant compound. So something like shilajit and something like Irish moss, which have the full matrix of minerals build DNA. If they are trying to poison you with chemicals that are genotoxic, toxic to your genes. Why do you think they want to do that? And don't you want to do the opposite? Don't you want to? That's why I take the plant compounds and the clinical studies that are to do with the supplements that I'm taking. Wild-crafted certified organic Irish moss and clinically studied purified shilajit. Full matrix of minerals. If you're getting the full matrix of minerals, you do utilize all of the sun's wavelengths of light that come off of it that are supposed to upgrade your consciousness and upgrade your DNA. And by the way, as they have banned NAC, okay, as they have banned NAC so you can't get Apex anymore, the next ones on the list are two ingredients. Well, there's about 60 on the list, but the two ingredients that are most pressing to us is the fact that the armor contains astragalus and the ingredient known as quercetin. And quercetin is from sunflower leaves that is extracted, and astragalus is from a root extract, okay? Astragalus has been clinically studied to lengthen telomeres, which has an anti-aging effect on the body. Shilajit, too, has an anti-aging effect on the body. It's been used for thousands of years. Why is the FDA going after natural ingredients and natural supplements? That's my question. Many of you may know. Many of you may know. For some reason, I just can't imagine why they would go after natural ingredients that have been clinically studied and proven. For example, the 8 clinical studies that it took to produce the clinically studied shilajit cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Many participants taking the shilajit and taking a placebo. What do we find? Well, we find that shilajit increases concentration, memory, and focus. It boosts testosterone for men and balances hormones for women, so it is an adaptogen. A immunoadaptogen, because it also helps your immune system. And it contains 40 trace minerals. And the other clinical study that they showed was that it actually reduces amyloid plaque. And as we talked about before, and this is very exciting, that amyloid plaque specifically has been shown to cause cognitive decline, and it is what accumulates in your brain and lowers your ability to cognitively, for your brain to function properly. It lowers your ability to have a strong and sharp memory. It lowers mental clarity. This is amyloid plaque. And amyloid plaque accumulates in the brain from toxins and chemicals and pesticides and synthetic fragrances and genotoxic substances. So if you're all of a sudden taking the shilajit, you're removing this amyloid plaque. That is why it specifically has been shown to boost memory function, okay? The armor does not have the shilajit, to answer Snazzy Star's question. The armor has astragalus, which is actually called astrogen, which is astragalus and ginseng combined, and that's the ingredient in the armor. It has quercetin. It has other ingredients that have been proven to augment the white blood cell function. Super good for your immune system. That seems to be why they want to ban it right now. And by the way, there is a push to have full regulation over all supplements and all foods in the world. That's part of Agenda 21, but I don't even want to talk about right now. What I want to talk about specifically right now is that your system in peak function with optimized endocrine system, with improved memory, improved mental clarity, what that does is that makes you have a increased and optimized vibrational frequency. Your vibrational frequency interacts with the state of consciousness of Earth, okay? And that's why they want everyone in a lowered state, because you influence the state of human and global consciousness. How interesting is that? That seems to be why there's this gigantic push to lower the state of human consciousness and keep you from taking ingredients like the shilajit that they are trying to ban. Someone asked right here a good question. They said, I want to get some for my dad who's over 50. So the most popular for men is the daily action combo, or the daily and the Tomcat. Okay, so if you're going to get your dad something, or if any guy, okay, if you're here and you're on the fence, Chalk has recently opened, today only, 53% off lifetime discount on any subscription or bundle at chalk.com for men or women. The most popular for men, like I said, is the Daily Tomcat or the Daily Action 2.0. For women, the most popular is the shilajit, as you just saw, brain function, energy, hormones, and the beautiful 7 Wonders. And remember, the 7 Wonders does have the ingredient in it, lion's mane. And lion's mane is one of the most exciting and believed to be the most mind-blowing ingredient, or mushroom rather, medicinal mushroom, in a very long time. Because it's shown to, again, remove amyloid plaque, which increases concentration, which increases memory function, etc. And also, at the same time, it induces nerve growth factor, which means that it stimulates your brain to produce new brain cells, which is what increases your mental clarity, your cognitive function, your memory, etc. So very, very powerful superfoods in the 7 Wonders. 7 Wonders and Shilajit for women, most powerful combination. Guys can still take that again. Let's kick this ding dong out of here. But remember that the only one specifically for men is the Chalk Daily. All other chalk supplements can be taken by men or women. And I definitely recommend you try out the Armor, the Chalk Armor, before it is banned. And also, you want to make sure that, I mean, it's strange. When I talk about this war on fertility, it's because they have a push for disrupting the endocrine systems in men and women, because that obviously influences your ability to reproduce, your ability to produce testosterone and produce estrogen for men and women. So they're trying to cause a massive gender-bending, alternative, transhuman, no longer, basically a synthetic human. A human, what is this guy? Yeah, exactly. Very good question. So essentially the situation is, if you have millions and millions of people consuming things that alter their state of endocrine system function, their energy levels, etc., you are altering the entire state of human consciousness globally. So this is why you have to understand that you being healthy is their kryptonite, okay? It is their kryptonite. This evil, non-physical entity, whatever it is, we'll talk about that a little later on. That is exactly the opposite of what they can even stomach, is healthy people who have optimized endocrine systems and who have restored their vitality and their DNA function. Think about it. When you find out that atrazine, that reverses the gender of frogs, is genotoxic. Okay, genotoxic means it's toxic for your genes. And this is the stuff they can't ban, but they can ban you from taking NAC, which is a natural amino acid. Very, very strange. So, for example, the Action 2.0, remember this, that the Action 2.0 has the ingredient that was secretly studied by the Russian military called rhodiola rosea. The other rhodiola that you can get online is mostly from China. And it's actually rhodiola, and then it's a different variety of rhodiola. It's not the OG rhodiola. That's what you get in the Action 2.0. So very good question. And hold on a sec. Very good question is that you do want to be aware that it's not just us who are talking about, yeah, there's some good ingredients like that may be cool. It's this. When you have clinically studied ingredients that have also been secretly studied by militaries around the world for 3-4 decades, you're getting something powerful. You're getting something serious. James Little said he has way more energy and is sleeping a lot better now. Well, thank you for sharing. And I will tell you this. The Shilajit optimizes endocrine function. Part of your endocrine system produces melatonin. Melatonin is what results in you having a rejuvenative and restorative sleep. Very, very powerful. Something like Shilajit will increase state of sleep. And remember, if you're getting the full matrix of minerals, you will be at some point. Could be right away. Could be a little later on, because we have to rejuvenate from years of chemical poisoning. You're also one of the consistent results. The people that are taking Shilajit, they say, is that their dreams are more vivid and they can recall them better because they have better memory. Many people may be missing out on an entire portion of their life, which is basically when you're dreaming and you don't remember your dreams. That is a large percentage of our lives. We are dreaming, and unfortunately, most of us do not remember our dreams. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm just going to kick this dude out who's just completely spamming and just talking to himself. So very good question. Now remember though, that this is the today only deal. 53% off lifetime discount. There's no slots for this one. It's a 24 or 12 to 24 hour deal. That's it. 53 life for 53% off lifetime discount. Or use the code 44OFF for 44% off all orders store-wide. Dylan said, I'm 27 years old and my gender, I identify as a man. No, I'm just kidding. He just said he's a 27-year-old man. Do I recommend taking Armor, Daily, Tonkat, Shilajit, Irish Moss, and all together each day? So remember this. all chalk supplements are specifically formulated to work in conjunction with one another. So you definitely can take them all at the same time, for sure. Secondly, if you're taking the daily and the Shilajit, you're getting a double dose of Shilajit, which means you may feel the effects sooner. The effects may be more pronounced. That's powerful. If on top of that, you're taking the Tongkat and the Armor and the Irish Moss, like, dude, you're getting the full matrix of minerals. You're getting the rare ingredients that are in Armor, the astragalus, okay, that has an anti-aging effect on the human body. If you're doing that, the only thing you're really missing is the 97.3% heirloom certified cacao beans from chalk that they are fully restricting the ability to buy more than one bag either today or tomorrow. The cacao beans, because too many people have been using a discount code and getting 6-7 bags, and chalk will not have another batch of organic certified heirloom cacao beans until 2022. They got the entire crop from a Bolivian farm. So that's the only thing you're missing would be the organic heirloom cacao. Now the cacao, you got to use the code 44 off. Highly, highly beneficial. Great deal. But for subscriptions, you want to use the code 53life. Now, this person asked a great question. Greg Beardsley said, which one lengthens telomeres? So it's Telomeres, just in case you want to type this in. But the ingredient that extends the length of telomeres, okay, which is anti-aging. Telomeres are what dictate how old or how slowly, or how slow or how fast you age. That's telomeres. If you have an ingredient like the astragalus that lengthens telomeres, it is an anti-aging effect on the body, and that is in the chalk Armor, the astragin, which is astragalus and ginseng synergized together. Someone said, how much are in the cacao beans? 16 ounces, 454 grams. This is a lot of cacao, man. This is a lot of cacao, and this one's probably half empty because I had a bunch of them already. And by the way, if you're getting heirloom cacao, the difference is you may have never actually tasted heirloom cacao before. The chocolate, the cacao that you've had, the cocoa, hot chocolate, most of that is used. They use hybrid cacao that is not the same genetic makeup as the heirloom, the OG stuff, the real stuff. That's the difference when you take in the cacao beans. And they have the skin intact, by the way, and the skin has a ton of nutrients. But what I like to do is peel the skin off, eat them either by themselves, or keep the skin on and eat it with a banana, or put it in a smoothie, or grind it up and make a little hot chocolate out of it. Isamura said, does Shilajit lengthen telomeres as well? Shilajit does lengthen telomeres, but the main clinical study on lengthening telomeres is the astragalus that's in the Armor. But that's not the only ingredient in Shilajit that has anti-aging effects. Okay, you also have the fact that the fulvic acid increases brain function, which and also the Shilajit contains the C60, carbon 60. Carbon 60 has anti-aging effects on the body. Sohum Sourdough said, I take all except the daily every single day, and I feel so good, and I've stopped taking most. I would like to read that out, but I have to say, chalk is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease, and it's also not intended to replace any medication. So, but that's literally amazing news. I couldn't ask for better news than that, hearing that someone is super, super healthy now. You know what I'm talking about? Remember, today only, 53% off lifetime discount, any subscription or bundle. Any subscription or bundle at chalk.com. Use the code 53life, get a 53% off lifetime discount. Expand the comment at the bottom of your screen and then screenshot so you know exactly what codes are available. And for those who are overseas, the best code for you to use is the 44 off for 44% off all orders store-wide. I am vibrating high 44 said, I just came in. I'm a woman. Should I take both for the women? The most popular for women is the Shilajit and 7 Wonders. A lot of people are getting the Armor now as well, but you can't go wrong with the Shilajit and 7 Wonders, especially you're getting 53% off lifetime discount. That is insane. AP Dillon just said, and by the way, to get that discount, you got to use the code 53life. 53life, 53life. How many capsules of each one do you recommend taking a day starting out? So the recommended dose, as you can see, the Action 2.0 is a bigger bottle than the Chalk Daily. This has 60 capsules. This has 90. The Action 2.0, you're supposed to take 3 capsules a day. The Daily, you're supposed to take 2 capsules a day. Each bottle is a month supply. So very good question. You'll get the recommended dose that's on each and every bottle that you get. Yes, exactly. By the way, most guys, so what I was saying though is that if you've ever had a non-organic bowl of greens or lettuce or any type of non-organic produce, you've likely consumed chemicals that alter your endocrine system function. You don't want to walk around in an altered state of consciousness with a weakened endocrine system. So the best thing you could do is eat organic, grounding, bare feet on the ground, have positive thoughts, positive results, and get rare superfoods into you to enhance your system during this pinnacle moment in human history where there's literally a war against humanity. Daily Action Combo for men or the Daily Tomcat. Shilajit and 7 Wonders for women or the Shilajit and Armor. Potent ingredients. Use the code 53life, 53% off lifetime discount, or use the code 44off for 44% off all orders store-wide. Sohom Sourdough said, I'm blown away how good I feel. You know, I'd say that, wow, that's so awesome that happened to you specifically. But the interesting thing is that there is literally thousands of third-party verified 5-star reviews in the story highlights of Get Chalk, kind of giving a very similar testimony. That's how you know clinically studied ingredients, they stand the test of time. So I'm glad that thank you for sharing. With that being said, everyone, get in my private, uncensored Telegram group chat. Yes, you can use all of them at once. Chalk has no synthetic things in it. This person said, is chalk is synthetic too? No. No, chalk is not synthetic. Good question, but of course not, dude. Look at me here. I am literally exposing toxic ingredients, and I'm going to tell you something that's synthetic. Of course not, big guy. Natural ingredients. Look, they're clinically studied. You could see all the lab tests for yourself. Check out all the ingredients at chalk.com. Use the code 53life or 44 off. Do not miss out. Get in my private, uncensored Telegram group chat, which is in the 4th link in my bio. Peeling Onion said, isn't chalk a test booster? Why not take TRT? I'm glad, it's funny. Good question. Why would you not take TRT? Testosterone replacement therapy is taking synthetic testosterone. It's a pretty shitty idea, in my opinion, because your body produces less and less and less naturally because it's getting a synthetic dose of it. So that's a ridiculous and, in my opinion, stupid idea, is doing testosterone replacement therapy. Second thing, no, chalk supplements are not testosterone boosters, because testosterone boosters typically contain testosterone. There is no testosterone or estrogen or any hormone in any chalk supplement. There are ingredients that naturally optimize your body's ability to produce those hormones, like the Tomcat, like the Daily, like the Shilajit, etc. So good question. Thank you for asking. And I hope that answers your question, because you don't want synthetic shitty ass TRT. You do want natural ingredients instead. So very good question. Much love, everyone. Get in my Telegram. Get in on this deal today only. 53life or 44 off. All right. Much love, everyone. We will talk soon. Get me on Telegram. All right. Let's see. Is this, there we go. Boom, bang.